Hey everyone. So in last week's video blog, I shared a story about me and relinquishing a lot of my attachments, my fears, leading up to a surgical procedure that I had, and the surprising results that came after the surgery of having done such deep releasing, noticing that fears of playing in the ocean when there's waves, fears of traveling into New York City that I used to have, all these fears just started falling away as a result of the deep work that I did leading up to this experience of surgery. But there was more. So I used to absolutely hate that space of not knowing if something was wrong with my body. It would cause me intense anxiety. If I noticed some sort of physical symptom, I'd always bolt to the doctor right away. But if I couldn't figure out, if I couldn't get to the doctor right away, or if I had to wait for a test result, that was a really hard period for me because I'd have so much anxiety about waiting, about, wanting to find out if everything was okay. So after this surgery that I had to wait for the results of a biopsy. And it was, again, something that on the surface I felt nervous about. Deep in my core, I felt solid that everything is already fine. But I continue to do a lot of this deep releasing and deep letting go. When I got the word, so I was teaching a class where I teach counseling classes, and I looked at my phone because a phone call was coming in just before the class began. It was, I think, like 5 o'clock on the dot, or maybe 4:59, and it was the doctor's office calling saying, "You have nothing to worry about. Everything came back fine in the biopsy." Unbeknownst to me, and unbeknownst to my mom, who was probably about 60 or so miles away, had no idea that I had just received this phone call, and she's a course student as well. So she wasn't worried about me. She was taking everything to spirit as well. So she wasn't carrying around a burden at all in terms of what I had went through or in terms of, the results that I was waiting for. She was purely focused on spirit within. At that same exact time, she remembers looking at the clock, and again, it was 4:59 or 5 o'clock p.m. on the dot. She just remembered glancing at the clock and feeling this sense that sandbags were being lifted off of her shoulders. Now, my mom would get cluster headaches, which, if you know what cluster headaches are, they're horrible, horrible migraine headaches, and she gets them quite frequently, and they last for quite some time. When she glanced at the clock at this time that she didn't even know that I was getting this phone call, she had the sensation of sandbags being lifted from her shoulders, and her cluster headache evaporated and was gone. She was headache-free for at least a solid week, which has not happened to her in years. To me, this was huge because it's an example that when you're healed, you're not healed alone. The work that you do, turning to spirit, benefits everyone else. It benefits me. The work that I do in allowing my own mind to be healed benefits everyone. It benefits you. As I shared in the previous video, we have a split mind that has fragmented into many pieces, but there's only one mind. We are all connected. So when we allow these blocks to love's awareness to be undone in our own mind, we're benefiting all. And this experience that I had with my mom, of my mom's headache evaporating and not coming back for a significant amount of time, was evidence that when you do this deep inner work, it affects others. So that was huge for me. I had the thought, and I shared this previously on a written blog post, the thought came to me, the God of sickness, not the real God, the God of sickness is loosening its hold on me as I'm healing, and I got an immediate firm correction from spirit within, an inner voice that said, no, you are learning how to let go of the God of sickness. I had been pursuing this God all my life in terms of worrying that something's wrong with me, something's going to be terrible that will happen. It's my choice to lay down pursuing those beliefs and instead opening up to the truth that I am and that we all are. So when you are healed, you're not healed alone. When I'm healed, I'm not healed alone. We're all in this together. I love you so much, and thank you for being so dedicated to this path, because we're all helping each other. Mwah. Bye.